Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning to you. Coming to you live from the beautiful Jeeves Law Group studio here in South Tampa. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show with the great IndyCar Tim Ham, my buddy, with our FanStream Sports DFW affiliate. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. A big night for the NBA, JP. I don't know if we're going to get any NBA talk, but there was a notable drafting by your Orlando Magic.
Do you want to get into that?
I mean, we can if we need some fill
You
time.
people out there, do you want us to talk about the NBA? Do you want us to?
I guess who the Mavericks picked first overall?
That Cooper Flag guy?
Is that his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Exactly how the NBA planned it.
Yeah, just like it was on paper.
It's like
back in February.
It's like, how do we get Luka out of there to LA? And then how will the Mavericks? What will they be happy with? Okay, this should work out great. Drew Jetson wants some Orlando Magic talk. Okay.
All right.
Man, I was so hoping that they would get Walter Clayton Jr. So
It wasn't
hoping.
going to happen, though.
I know, but would he end up going to Utah after the trade?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a really good pro. I think he's really going to get a really good pro. They've made some interesting moves over the past week or 2 weeks or whatever it's been. They've really remade their team. Problem is, and we're going to go out there with this now, but
yeah,
I just don't have any faith in their front office. None. And deservingly so. They just cannot get out of their own way and haven't for quite some time. I don't think they're a very good team building. We're going to talk about the Buccaneers that wear this red in terms of team building. The Orlando Magic have none of that. Have not been able to put it together, despite having a lot of great resources to do so. So we'll do a little bit of that. If you guys want to do that in the second hour, absolutely. But we got breaking news for the Bucs. Jason Licht and Todd Bowles have been extended. Not a shock, certainly not a shock at all. Needed to be done. Bowles was in the last year of his contract. And they're good. These contracts are going to run, I think, concurrently together to keep these guys together. And, Bucs Basement's already in here this morning.
He's already, before we even went on the air.
Yeah. God, look at that. I get it. And we're going to read them all because we like to, give everybody a shot at their opinion. And I see, there's some, listen, I have been quite critical of Todd Bowles at times. Absolutely. Sure. And I think it's a really interesting situation with him. It's real easy to just point to division championships and say any idiot would of course re-sign Todd Bowles. And I think he needed to be re-signed. Absolutely. You can't let him be a lame duck coach in this situation. What are the numbers? I don't know. I haven't seen them. And I don't know if we're going to see them, to be quite honest, because that helps add context to the whole situation.
Right.
So we're going to get into that. I think it's a very interesting discussion, and we invite your comments.
I have so many questions about this.
Oh, good. Yeah. So this is gonna be fun. We'll have good banter, and of course, we'll always get your comments in. We love you guys commenting. You can do that on Facebook. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that on X. They will appear here in the chat, and we will bring you guys in. And thank you so much for. Man, we have had days, Timmy, where I think I stopped counting at like 200. Is there a place on here where they tell you how many comments so I don't have to count them up?
No, it doesn't add them up for you unless you don't check it. Then it tells you, like it tells me right now, there's 8 comments I haven't looked at. But that doesn't count the ones that were already there when I opened it.
Right. So, yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. And we thank you guys. We can't do this without you. So, thank you so much. And make sure you contact or yell at any of these great sponsors that we have down here and we talk about.
By the way, we do have the number of listeners for this show and all of our live shows are growing exponentially on the FanStream Sports mobile app. For those that are driving around or whatever and don't have access to YouTube or whatever, and they want to listen to it on their phone and through their Bluetooth, And you can also comment with us on the FanStream Sports Studio text line.
I didn't even know we had one of those.
214-937-0569. It's a 214 number. We're going to get one for the local Tampa peeps too, not to leave you guys out. But with cell phones, there's no such thing as long distance anymore. But you guys just lock it in your phone, 214-937-0569. You can just text that number, and I will see it, and we can read it. I can't put it on the screen, but we can read it and acknowledge you. So how you like
Perfect.
that?
Sorry, I'm just confirming with Orestes Destrade is going to join us.
Oh, Big O.
The Big O's been over in Japan, a longtime Rays broadcaster. I think one of the most colorful and fun baseball talkers I've ever met in my life. Obviously, he's played the game at a high level, speaks multiple languages, super smart, loves the game, and just, great enthusiasm. So he'll join us at 10:30, and Lord knows where that's going to go. So it'll be super fun. But we got lots to get into. There's a trade, their NHL trades are going already for the draft coming up. JJ Peterka was kind of a target that the Lightning had been mentioned with from the Sabres. He gets traded to the Mammoths for Michael Kesselrig, right-hand defenseman, and the forward Josh Doan. Interesting trade. I think I'm not, Julian Brisebois is not on my speed dial. He's not telling me what he's doing. The Lightning are always very tight-lipped about everything. So anything you get, it's out there on the Elliot Friedmans and all that stuff. And that name has been linked to the Lightning. And I think something big's coming. I do think something big's coming. I don't think Connor McDavid is coming, but Lord knows. Who knows what's going on with that? I don't know what's in Connor McDavid's head. I don't know but the only way you're getting Connor McDavid is if you trade away Kucherov. And I don't think that's happening. I'm pretty sure Kucherov has a no trade clause.
Sure.
And I don't think that's happening, but I don't know. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. And Eric Erlindson's been on vacation, so I want to get him on the show and speak a little bit to that.
Everybody calls this the dead period of sports, right? Here in the summer, but it is not by any stretch. So there's a lot to talk about. Yeah.
And of course, also the Rays sale, which is something obviously we've been kind of leading the way on. And I had another meeting yesterday with some folks that are part of a group. There's a lot of folks that are parts of groups. I'm finding out lots of folks, and I can't put their names out there, and I can't really talk about what we said. It's basically, I've had a couple of these meetings this week, and it's basically, and all these people are they're under NDAs, and everything is completely off the record, and we can't really talk about it. So what I bring to you is context of what's going on behind the scenes. We did this yesterday. I'll continue to do this, but I obviously have to be very careful about what I say. There's a lot of people listening to the show that are involved in these transactions, and I do not want to dissuade their or lose their trust in any of this. But I also, as my responsibility to you guys, to keep you abreast of what I know and what I can say. So what I can say is, obviously, there's a letter of intent on the table, an exclusive letter of intent on the table. Major League Baseball is clearly stacking up groups to make sure that they have a lot of people involved, that if one of these groups don't come through, there will be other groups to pick up the ball. And I want to talk about positive things because, one of the things I put out on Twitter yesterday was just, one of the great things I heard at this meeting yesterday is, can you imagine Eric Neander with $150 million payroll? Oh, music to my ears.
That's
Holy
like
Jesus.
Double what he has now, right?
Right. Double of what basically he's been working with. And as I think all these groups, but this one in particular is like, we don't want to touch the baseball side. These guys are geniuses. They know what they're doing. Yeah. It's just, we want to get in there from the business side and, build a stadium that's worthy of people wanting to come to and worthy of bringing more revenue to the streams, because there's a lot to be had. As we've said this story many times, when Atlanta Braves moved into their new stadium, so much of that was about premium seating and other different revenue streams that the Rays currently don't take advantage of, that they will in a new stadium. And that was $134 million just in the first year of local money that they poured into the team.
Jeez.
And then won a World Series not long after, I think, in the next year, because they were paying Charlie Morton while we were discarding Charlie Morton at $15 million. It's such a great, and I refer to this all the time because it's such a great and obvious template of what can be and what we do, right? So all of these groups I've spoken with have this same mindset, is that there's so much more on the table, but because of the way Stu Sternberg has been running the deal. And, as I've said many times and confirmed by all of these meetings that I've had, is that, yeah. And, for these people that have seen the books or are aware of the books, is like, yeah, he's taken $100 million, if not more, off the table that could go into the team. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money because the revenues of the Rays are around $350 million, as Kent confirmed the other day. Kent Badenhausen from Sportico. His payrolls are typically in the 70 to 90 million range. And the revenues, and there's lots of different revenues, including revenue sharing, $60 million a year, central fund money, local TV money, the sponsorships, tickets, blah, 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 blah. So you get up to $350 million. And you guys can do the math. And he doesn't have any stadium costs at Tropicana Field, which is why he loves that place for so long. And would love to stay there as long as he could, even though we hate it. Terrible location, terrible stadium. He don't care. It's a cash cow. So that's why, these other groups are like, wow, this is a great opportunity to not only make money in a real estate play. Everybody's on the real estate play, but also make money in baseball. Baseball makes a lot of money, even the Rays, and they make a lot of money. So there's the context here is we can't say much, but there are bright days ahead, and Stu Sternberg will no longer own this team likely in 6 months, if not sooner. And that's great news because it's great news. And so whatever happens with this particular group, and I still stand by, there is a group right now that we've been talking about for a long time that have the exclusive letter of intent. And I'll tell you this, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll say it again. I'm not completely convinced Patrick Zalewski is the anchor investor of this group. And that may change. And the names that have been mentioned, Bill Cosgrove, Ken Babby, I think it is. Those names were familiar to me and within the group, but I'm not sure they're the anchor investors. And it's interesting to note why those names were leaked and the other names were not.
Right.
Because the other names would bring a much more favorable feeling to this process. And those names were not leaked. And I know who some of those names are. So it's kind of weird. There's a lot of weird stuff. As I said, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's a bit of a circus. There are leaks out there. And when you have a situation where Stu Sternberg is very much in the crosshairs of the other owners and Major League Baseball, that's been established. And he's in a process of selling the team, and as we know, is not happy about it. Somber and frustrated were the words used when he met with his employees over Zoom. So where are these leaks coming from? Why is the process being muddied up? All great questions. These are not usual things that happen in a sale of a team. Not the way this is going down. Shocking development. When it comes to the Rays, everything's a chaos, and it's because of their leadership. So, and that's just why Major League Baseball wants to move on from these shenanigans. And when it's over, all these groups that are vying for this team are exemplary folks that are extremely well funded and beloved in the Tampa Bay area.
Robert brings up an interesting point. The Marlins were sold to a group other than the group who had the letter of intent.
There you go. There, yeah.
Yep.
So this process is far from over, but again, I think what's great to know is that Major League Baseball is driving this process, and they are very desirous to get a stadium in Tampa. Now, is the St. Pete thing still on life support? People say that. People tell me that it is. I'll say that. People say that it is. I don't believe that. I don't believe for 1 second Major League Baseball wants a stadium in St. Pete. They've been very clear about that. And they, given this opportunity with multiple groups vying for a team that, as Ken Hagan said, can get the deal done in Tampa, I don't see why they would want to backtrack and go to a failed location. Despite all the upfront money and all those things, for Major League Baseball, this is a long-term play. They do not want to be writing revenue-sharing checks to the 11th largest market. They should not be doing that. And it's only because of the way this market has been mismanaged that they are still doing that. And they want to end that. And that is the number one thing on there, because with these other owners, it's about the money. And they want their expansion money. And I get, again, clock is ticking with the CBA coming up. They want this transaction done. The A's looks like they're breaking ground in Vegas. They're this close to getting what they want in Tampa, new ownership with a stadium deal planned for Tampa. That's why I think, as I've always said, follow the money. This is where it gets done. So I don't want to belabor the point. Are there any more comments about this particular thing before we move on to Light and Bowls? All right, if there are, we'll get
There's
to
a lot
them
about Light and Bowls here. Rick didn't like me soliciting his phone number, though. Thinks I'm just going to, you know what? Now I am, Rick. You're right. I'm just going to find out. I used to be a private investigator. I have ways of finding numbers and addresses. So watch out.
Oh, Michael LaRue, I totally forgot about this. The Wander verdict is coming up today. He's also got the firearm charge that could be 3 to 5 year sentence. I have no idea what's going on down there. I just know this. He's got a lot of money and a lot of money at stake, and money buys justice for the person with the money, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So let's get on to Light and Bowls, and we'll talk about the Rays on the field. By the way, that was a great display last night of bunting. Holy hell, the Rays! All the bitching and moaning we've done over the years about them not bunting. Finally, suddenly, Kevin Cash is now bunting twice in back-to-back in an inning, and it's hilarious. So yeah, take advantage of what you got, and they got speed to burn. They can small ball you. They can big ball you. Can I say that? They can, whatever they want to ball you, they can ball you. And the Rays are winning in a lot of different ways, and it's fun to watch. So,
the hell's happening here?
But I don't know what happened. What happened?
Sorry, nothing. My bad. Could you not hear that?
I did not hear that.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good news.
Do we have the Trump drop, by the way, yet? Do we have that?
No, I don't have the Trump drop. I do have. I mean,
that could come in really handy. A lot of different things.
I have this one.
Gentlemen, we got a big fucking problem.
I love that. We got the Nixon drop. Now we need the Trump drop. All right.
I'll find the Trump drop.
So yes, Bowles and Jason Licht extended their contract today. The Bucs did. In a statement, the Buccaneers said this morning, Jason and Todd's leadership has been critical to our organization's success. The winning culture they have established has us well positioned for the future, said Buccaneers owner, co-chairman Joel Glazer. The continuity and stability they provide will play a large role in our ability to compete for additional championships. Jason Licht said, I am very grateful to the Glazer family for their trust and belief they have shown in me and what we are doing here. I am also very excited to continue working alongside Todd well into the future as we continue our mission of finding and developing talented players and chasing additional championships by our fans. Todd Bowles said, I am excited to continue working with Jason and JP for years to come as we build on the success that we've enjoyed and keep reaching for even bigger and better goals. My family loves Tampa, and we're looking forward to delivering more great moments for our fans in the coming seasons. I also appreciate the confidence that the Glazer family has shown in my abilities to lead this football team. It is a responsibility I do not take lightly, and I am honored to have. So, yeah, interesting to note that I have not seen the terms of the contract, and I'm not sure we will. And, finding it, the numbers on coaches' salaries and GM salaries is a little difficult. So we'll see if somebody sees them out there. If they've been reported, please put them in the comments so we can pass them on. Because I think I think it adds a little context to everything. I don't think Todd Bowles is one of the higher paid coaches in the league, and I don't think he needs to be. Todd is not one of those ego guys. It's one of the reasons we love him so much. As far as his coaching ability, we've talked about this a lot. And I think Todd is a tremendous culture builder, and he deserves a lot of credit for 3 straight division championships. Only Bruce Arians has won more games in his first 3 seasons as a Buccaneers coach than Todd Bowles. I mean, there are a lot of different things that you stack in his statistical favor, and you say, yeah, that's fantastic. And it'd be very easy for me to come on here and just say, this is the obvious thing to do, and it's the greatest thing in the world, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think that adds the proper context to what's happening here. I think without question, it had, a couple of things not gone their way and not made the playoffs last year, namely this Anthony Nelson strip against the Panthers that basically saved the season. Yeah. If that doesn't happen and they don't make the playoffs, I think Todd Bowles would have been fired. And I'd go back to the previous season where they won 9-0 against the Panthers in the final game. After another long lull during the middle of the season, they wouldn't have made the playoffs and wouldn't have won a division. That's terrible. I mean, you have to look at the division and see it as for what it is. It's been terrible. It's been the worst division numerically in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
in terms of their record outside the division, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that's to say it's context. Has Todd Bowles done a great job? Yes, I think he has. No, let me say this. I think he's done a good job. Maybe a really good job. And again, I love Todd Bowles as a man. I love him. Could not say more positive things about him. He's just a great dude, and I root for him. And I can't wait to see him lift the Lombardi Trophy again. I just his numbers, what he's been able to do as a defensive coordinator, that performance against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, holding Patrick Mahomes out of the end zone, will go down as an all-timer. He's the architect of that. And yeah, he did that with Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis at corner. So remember that. So he's has a lot of skins, and he's accomplished a lot. That said, he's been teetering, and I think that's fair to say. And I think it's also fair to say when you're 2-6 with the roster they had last year in 1-score games as a head coach, that's not good enough in 7-point games. There was an 8-point game that they won, and I'm trying to put this in context. Mm-hmm. He needs to be better in that realm, and that's game management. And he has done everything to get better, including hiring a game manager, not being, stubborn and saying no, because that's what I think a lot of coaches would do. If management came to him and said, you need a full-time game manager, I think the Belichick's and some of the others in the world, of course, Belichick obviously has the resume, doesn't need one. He's proven he can do it. But yeah, although didn't do it too well without Tom Brady. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think Todd has done everything to adjust and be better. And I think you're going to see a totally different. Last year's pass defense at 29th, and the defense as a whole was not good enough and lost them a lot of games. He counted on that defense to close games in his game management, and they could not do it in critical times. We'll go back to the, going for 2 against Kansas City. The game management against Washington was terrible in the playoff game. And listen, do you think Jason Light, do you think the Glazers are happy that this team lost a home playoff game last year? And the way that they lost it with this roster? No, they're not. Do they feel like this team could have gone farther? Yes. Is that all on Todd Bowles? No. Some of it? Absolutely.
Most of it.
A lot of people think that way.
That's his defense that failed.
Yes. 7 possessions for the Bucs offense. 7. Did they have critical turnover? They did. Did they have an issue in the red zone late in the game? Graham Barton, a snap? Yep. But that also could be attributed to coaching as well. Both of those moves could be attributed to coaching, but not on the defensive side. But if you're the head coach, you take that. That's on you. The game management, not allowing them to run out the clock in the end of the game, it's inexcusable. The game management at halftime, inexcusable. He's had a lot of issues with this. So we're not going to sit here and rubber stamp everything and say how, great, no, this is a team that's barely won their division in a terrible division, and it's not advanced in the playoffs to the to the level of the roster, in my opinion.
The NFC Championship game is a minimum for this roster.
I agree, 100%. But I also agree 100% with what they've done here. Of course you extend Todd Bowles. Of course you extend Jason Licht. That's a no-brainer. Jason Licht has the most starts of his drafted players in his tenure of any team in the league. And it's not even close. 40 of the 50 starters on his team last year were drafted players. That's unheard of. Keeping all 11 players, most of them draft picks, unheard of. Jason Licht has killed it. And the Glazers, and we've talked about this in length, the Glazers' confidence in him and faith in him at that 6-year mark right before they hired Arians was honestly unprecedented in this league. And it's that patience and that trust that Jason earned, I think mostly because of his honesty with the Glazers and who he is as a man. The dude's a genuine article. He's super honest. He's always there to self and very self-aware to say, I screwed up. I'll do better. I'm learning. And the Glazers said, okay, all right. Yeah. But we see that. We see that. We see something good in you. And 99.9% of owners would not do that. I'm telling you, 99% of owners would not have kept Jason Licht. But the Glazers saw something in their relationship with him, in the quality of him as a human being, and the quality of the relationships that Jason has, not only with his staff, but around the league, and said, we don't need to lose this guy. Who are we going to replace him with? And it's the same thing with Todd Bowles. Who are you going to replace him with? You know?
Not a lot of options out there.
There's not a lot of options out there, and you have no idea how they're going to mix with your team.
Hey, Mike McCarthy's out there.
For a reason.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, your thoughts, Timmy.
I have a question, and then I have a point. My question is for you, JP. So in the hierarchy of the Bucs organization, the Glazers, as the owners, are responsible for hiring, extending, firing the general manager. And it's typically the general manager's responsibility to hire, fire, extend the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
By both of them getting extended at the same time, do you think this is a situation where the Glazers went to Licht and said, hey, we're going to extend your contract? We would also like you to extend the Bowles contract as he's entering the final year of his deal, and we don't like that lame duck situation. And then Licht agrees? Or do you think Licht did this on his own, knowing the situation? Was he under orders from ownership to extend Bowles, or was this all on his own, do you think? And then I have a point after that.
I think the Glazers, first of all, it's obvious that they were going to extend Jason Licht. And I think it's also obvious that you had to extend Todd Bowles. And again, we don't know for the years or the money. That's context that I think is needed in kind of analyzing where the Bucs are right now. Listen, as an ownership group, you know, if Todd doesn't get it done this year, could he be fired? Sure. And they'll have to eat a lot of the contract? Absolutely. But you have no choice as owners in this situation. You got to do this. You got to do this. It's in order to keep your, continuity going, which continuity wins in this league, right? It's a no-brainer. So I think it all came from the top, but I think it was all kind of obvious. I think it was all really obvious.
Okay, and you kind of touched on my point there. I don't think that the extension of Bowles is a reward for his past performance. I don't think it's a pat on the back saying, hey, you're doing a great job. Let's keep it up. Let's do it another, 2 years, 3 years, whatever we're going to find out what the extension is. I think this is more of a situation where Licht, the Glazers, whatever, know where this roster is right now. And in the interest of continuity, they don't want to shake things up too much. And they're giving Bowles every opportunity that, and maybe more than he should have, to go out and win with this thing. With this new roster now, the defense has been completely retooled. Mm-hmm. You've got these incredible rookies. You've got a veteran pass rusher now. We know the defense was the weak side of the ball last year. Hey, we've hypothetically fixed all of these issues for your defense, Todd. Now it's up to you. We don't want you coaching next year with an uncertain future, because that's going to be a talking point. Look what happened in Dallas with Mike McCarthy. It's the most ridiculous scenario I've ever seen in coaching.
Absolutely.
They did not want to have a repeat of that. Thank God, rightfully so. Good for them. I think this is more of a deal where they're saying, hey, we don't want to shake this thing up. We don't want any question marks through this season. We don't want any distractions through this season. Let's extend bowls. Let's make it public. Now we don't have to talk about it. All right. And now you're free to coach. Go coach, and let's go win this thing in the interest of continuity.
That's what good organizations do.
Yeah, the players aren't going to be questioned about it in press conferences. Jason Light's not going to be pressured about it in press conferences. Nobody's going to have to talk about it. He's extended. Again, I don't think it's a reward for past performance. I think it's in the interest of continuity and saying we don't need distractions. Let's just do this.
I think it's a recognition of what he's done. And again, is it a 10-year deal at $7 million a year?
No way.
No, it's not. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but because of Todd's age, it's different. So, and that's probably why the numbers aren't out there, because people don't want you to read context into it like we're trying to do, but it's all part of the game, right? So, yeah, I think you're spot on. I think this is about the future. And listen, this is what Gordo, to your point, and it's a great point you make with the Dallas Cowboys. Because the Glazers, as I said, if this team fails this year, and a lot of it is on game management, and Todd Bowles is kind of in the crosshairs, would they fire him? Yes, they fired Tony Dungy after making the playoffs 4 of 6 years. Absolutely, they would, and they'd have to eat that contract. But this is what good organizations do to avoid what the chaos and the circus was that you dealt with in Dallas last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I think it's smart. It's what good organizations do. And I think it's fair for you as fans and me as a broadcaster here to ask questions and say, put things in context and not just, say everything's unicorns and lollipops. There have been issues. There's no question about it, but he's grown as a coach and he's won. The bottom line is he wins the division, and he got rewarded for that. Absolutely, he did, as he should.
Yeah.
So I think it's great for the future of where we are, and it's a no-brainer.
Because I will tell all of you Bucs fans, last season in Mike McCarthy's final year with the Cowboys, that was the number one talking point at press conferences, the number one talking point of the media here in Dallas. Me as a Cowboys journalist, that's the number one thing I wrote about all season long was Mike McCarthy's lame duck status.
Because it shows what the ownership group thinks of him.
Yeah.
We don't really know. And we're going to leave it out there as a distraction. That's bad. It's bad owning.
And we know it was ridiculous at the time, but in retrospect, it's even more ridiculous than we thought. It's
all right. Put your comments up. We will talk about that as we go through the show. We got 2 hours, as we do each and every day, to talk Tampa Bay sports. And sometimes we'll talk Orlando sports with the Magic. Some of you want to talk about that, so we will. We will do
Go Dreamers.
Because I'm we will not be talking about the Dreamers. I can tell you that. Unless we're just making fun of them. Keep dreaming. Keep the best name ever.
The Orlando Keep Dreamers.
Keep dreaming. I'm falling asleep. All right. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We're coming to you from the Jeeves Law Group studio here in beautiful South Tampa. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. If you're in an accident, you got to call Scott Jeeves. Great folks over there, hardworking lawyers, locally owned and operated, right? They know all the local landscape here. That's important when you're getting a settlement. So all that good stuff. Jeeves Law Group. And, of course, onsiteconstructionfl.com. Jason Fawcett is the lead contractor, the best in the business. Get a free consultation with him. He'll come out to your house, take a look at it, tell you what you might need to do to maybe boost her up for hurricane season. And if there is damage to your home in a hurricane, you already have the contractor on site. Will have looked at your home, know it, and you're in the group. You're in the preferred group to be in that line when everybody lines up for their contractor. So get that done. OnsiteConstructionFL.com. Back at 3 with the great Orestes Destrade. Although it may seem tempting to go without healthcare insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Without further ado, let's get to the man, the myth, one of the greatest baseball talkers I've ever met in my entire life, and players.
Wow.
Orestes Destrade. You don't mind as a gringo that I roll the R's, do you? Some people say that I shouldn't do that because I'm a gringo.
Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Yeah.
You sound great, man. You sound great. You
man.
look marvelous.
JP, great to see you for our little lunch time yesterday, and pleasure to be on with you. And what an intro. I need to I'm going to tape that. I want your producer to clip me that, and I'm going to take it everywhere I go. When I walk into Starbucks, I'm going to play that as I walk in. Yeah. And they go,
but you're so knowledgeable in the game, having played it all over the world. You speak like 12 different languages, and you know the game, and you know the Rays so intimately. So it's always great to be with you
for baseball so far.
Yeah, dude, like watching the game last night, and this is like the metamorphosis of the Rays. It's like we're going to add this now to the quiver of arrows that we already have to beat you. We're going to have our catcher lay down a bunt.
Yeah.
Caballero lay down a bunt, 2 squeeze plays, where the Rays have disowned bunting forever.
They
Like,
did.
where did this?
They did it. They did away with it. I was really upset with it after
Right.
Magic Joe Madden was famous for the not only the squeeze bunt, but just kind of the little sacrifice bunt, so to speak, with a man on third and force you to force that run in. They went back to it. They're kind of just chirping on all cylinders right now, man. All cylinders. They've got the speed. They've got the defense. They've got the starting pitching, arguably the best in the game right now as far as
Yep.
starting pitching that goes deep and can save your bullpen. They're showing the power more readily in the month of June, no doubt. So the power is there. And they have a couple of veteran players, that can lead you, and Brandon Lau, and obviously what the one guy that I definitely need, the kind of been quietly, he's been, I'm sure, talked about, but more has been about the youngster, Jonathan Aranda, and deservedly so, Junior Caminero, is Yandy Diaz. And what Yandy Diaz has done in the month of June, in the last month, actually really for the last 6 weeks. For the last 7 to 8 games, he's hit close to 500. For the last 15 games, he's hit over 400. And for the last 30 games, he's hit over 350 with RBIs, with power, and scoring runs. So that's kind of quietly seeped in there, and I think that's been the engine of their offensive, onslaught.
I love his level swing. All this launch angle bull crap. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, though. But if you got a ball coming at 100 miles an hour this way, and you're swinging this way, with launch angle,
the chances
with a round bat,
right?
Like the chances of you hitting that
are
almost nothing. And so you watch this guy hit, and you're like, why doesn't everybody hit like this guy? I know he's not hitting home runs, but damn.
But he has.
Well,
he's got. I think he's got like 13 already.
Right? Yeah, that's enough for me.
He's going to drop probably the most home runs, of his career.
Well, I mean, he's not like a super power guy, but he doesn't need to be.
And he doesn't do this thing. Everybody's about doing this right away, which is so frustrating for me because, of course, when you throw the knob of the bat at the ball, you're going to automatically drop, and your back shoulder is going to come in. I'm not saying that you're attacking the ball this way, but it's an overcompensation that it's really hard for me to watch sometimes. Especially on deck. Some guys are on deck and their practice swings, they're literally practicing like this, and I'm going, you end up doing what you practice. That's the one thing about baseball, JP, that having played other sports, just like you, man, multiplicity of sports, you understand a multiplicity of sports. You're very good at hockey, and obviously you know football extremely well, and you know baseball. The one sport, or the one sport thing, which is hitting, that you do more than I think any sport, and tell me if I'm wrong, is swinging a bat.
Yeah,
we swing a bat thousands of times. Yeah. I don't even think guys shoot, shots. It's
like a golf. It is similar to a golfer, but that
but
the swing is similar.
A golfer is a swing.
Yeah.
The only two other sports that I compare it with is golf and tennis.
Yeah.
As far as how many times you swing. So the habitual proper practice or improper practice is gonna mess you up. And I think if you really truly look at the swing of how that kind of came to be about 10 years ago, solidly, to 15. Look at the batting average. When you get a chance, look at the batting average, how they've gone down.
And the strikeouts.
And the strikeouts have gone up systematically. Yeah. So stats don't lie. And I think the swing more level, where you still have a good bat lag. The key is the bat lag, so you can control all the area of the plate.
How long that bat is in the zone,
how long it's in the zone, and how it's coming to the zone. That it's not coming around this way. Obviously, that's not perfect. So that's
he is such a good example of that.
He's phenomenal. He does it so well. He throws the knob of the bat, leading the charge. I mean, my favorite hitter on the team right now to watch per se. And I predicted it, I did a couple of shows preseason, and I said Junior Caminero, will hit 35 to 40 home runs. After watching him in spring training and seeing how neat his swing is, and how there's a couple guys that I can compare it to, and one is Marcell Ozuna, and Marcell Ozuna's got sick.
Yeah.
What they have is the backswing, so they're nice and strong, and they get there, and then they're just furious with how they release. Their release is, Freddie McGriff level,
Yeah.
Junior, to that level. They're trying to reach that level. Those are Hall of Famers, but I think that Junior Caminero is, barring injury, maybe hypothetically weight issue, because he's kind of a little bit big for as
Yeah.
young a kid as he is. Then you can kind of play yourself out. He is in a rarefied air.
Yeah, the numbers that he's put up for his age, I think
Yeah.
the only with the 19 homers in first 70 games and 50 RBIs, Alex Rodriguez, pretty good. And who was the other one? I forget. Both.
I would imagine Miguel Cabrera would have to be somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think it's since like 1995. Anyway, the numbers that he's put up are just ridiculously good. But with all young kids like this, you say staying power. Like, what do you see in his swing that says he's going to be, I'm not going to say Cabrera, but he's going to be one of those guys that he's already put his name in this, from the early success.
It was interesting because Miggy, knowing Miggy from the beginning when he got up with the Marlins, he was more svelte, right? He was more thin. Miggy liked to, to chug a little bit, and I'm not talking iced tea. So that got him a little wider.
Yeah.
But he still was incredible all the way to, I think, this last day that he retired. But so the biggest thing I see with this kid, understanding the game as well as I do, is making sure that they controlled his diet, controlled his weight, control his workout in the off season, and if he just doesn't just want to go out and just hammer and hit and forget about the other aspects of the game. Because other than that, his hands are dramatic. The force of his follow through is just, I would just love to teach it to every kid, because most little leaguers all the way into high school, they cut their swing off. They'll stop and they'll want to look at the ball where the ball is. This kid finishes everything and then finishes back. And that ball has an extra 15, 20 feet on it when he really, leans into one.
I love you brought up the McGriff and Griffey. Those finishes were just classic. You could just see them in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. And you think that they're like all sweet, everybody, they're so smooth. No, they were vicious. They were smooth, because a lefty swing tends to kind of be pretty smooth. You know what I mean? As opposed to, if you think of a righty swing, you think Mike Schmidt, and those guys,
Sheffield.
They're like hard. And lefties tend to be Ted Williams and Stan, and these guys, but they're still finishing really hard and back. And this kid's got that potential. But their offense right now, they brought the kid, Simpson back, who's
I was gonna ask you about him.
I never thought he should have even been sent down. I think they should have sent Meisner. I like the kid Meisner, man. They got a couple of really good stories. They got three.
But
let's talk
about Simpson. Let's talk about Simpson.
Yeah.
And what I just love his game. I love the old school leadoff guy. The Ricky Henderson.
I'm going to tell you a guy, and you're going to die when I mention this guy's name, because I know that you were a fan of his.
Where have they gone? Get on base. Get in the pitcher's head. It makes everybody else better. Last night, he's just in the middle of that inning. He's just serving at the shortstop, and and Witt's the best shortstop in the game. He has got no chance. He's got no chance.
It's ridiculous. I'm going to tell you the guy, and you're going to appreciate it, that he reminds me of, because you're a guy that spent some time in Atlanta. Otis Nixon.
Otis, my man.
My man. Otis, I played for a minute with Otis when he was with the Yankees. Otis Nixon is basically, Simpson is Otis, reincarnated, because neither had much power, and
Yeah.
they didn't try to hit for power.
Didn't
They didn't
need
need to hit for power. But
No.
if you look at Otis Nixon's numbers, they were solid year in and year out when he got a chance to play 140, 150 games. He was always up there at 90, 100 runs scored. You know, you just can't knock speed, man. Now, he does have to learn routes a little bit. He's kind of like a a first year. What's the Bucs guy that they signed? Though I don't think he's gonna have a problem. But the wide receiver
Abuka?
Ibuka, so run
Yeah.
routes, and I'm gonna teach you what you got to do and
Yeah.
where you need to go. But the physicality and the power and the speed, there's three things you cannot really kind of teach in baseball. Power pitching, you can level up a little bit, but if you got it, you got it. Power hitting, you can level up a little bit too there, but if you got it where it's pole to pole, that's rare. And then power speed, and then you're taught, other aspects. By the way, stealing doesn't seem to be a problem for him. So he's judging which not everybody does right. I've played
Early on. No, you got to learn it.
Steal.
Imagine when he learns the nuances.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. So he's a gold mine. And I don't think you mess with him. I think you only work with his outfield play and make sure that's not a detriment.
And that's when when they sent him down, I said, how's this kid going to learn the angles and the backgrounds of major league ballparks playing center field if he's playing in Durham?
Yeah.
You can work on your
point.
defense, but you can't, once the outfields in the major leagues are a hell of a lot different. The sight lines, the sun, he's got to learn all these parks, right?
100%. You got to throw them out there. If you're going to use them, you got to throw them out there to some degree. Obviously, this is a team that is, for the last several years, potentially a playoff team year in and year out. So you don't want to hamper yourself dramatically, right? So it can't be a super detriment. He hadn't shown that. Yeah, okay. He had some terrible routes. Hadn't made an error yet because he's got that little, cute little from 1901, so many games with so many stolen bases, the typical sabermetrics craziness, right?
Right. Yeah.
But nevertheless, he hadn't made an egregious error. You can look at PCA for, which was just a mental blunder just the other day for the Cubs, Armstrong. And he forgot that there was one out, there was only one out, and the guy catches the ball and starts running in. 2 runs scored. You know, so that hasn't happened. And I can think of Jason Dominguez with the Yankees. I'm a big, I've always loved the Yankees too as a kid and played for them. Jason's not the best left fielder. They're just they're waiting their time to see that if, like, maybe in the second half, that offense clicks.
Right.
And his prowess, unlike Chandler Simpson, is that he could easily hit 20 jacks in the second half and drive you 60 runs. So you're bidding your time, but you're letting them kind of, figure the outfield out. And you do it by playing them.
So we look at this Rays team right now, and it looks pretty complete. But obviously injuries are going to happen. They have a surplus of starting pitching with Joe Boyle at AAA.
Yep.
If you're the GM, and I know you don't want to up this team's playing as good a baseball as anybody in the league, but I still think they need a little bit more power and an experienced bat in the postseason. So for me, you look at success in the postseason, and sometimes you'll see a Rosarena pop up, and he'll have a credible run.
That was an anomaly.
It happens. Yeah,
but it was a one-off because he hasn't even done it ever again.
So you need the established hitters, the guys that have been around. They get paid a lot of money, which of course we're averse to paying it. I get it,
right?
But now, is this a team that you say, all right, let's go out and make a Nelson Cruz trade again, and and get an experienced hitter and find out? And I know that didn't work out the way we wanted to because he didn't like hitting in the drop. By the way, we found out.
No,
shocking development. But do you make that move? Because you got a spot with Morel. Morel's got to go at some point.
That's the one that's really hurt the. See, because the Rays work on. First of all, before I say what I'm going to say, Eric Neander arguably is the best general manager in baseball.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
And arguably because there's some pretty damn good ones out there. So let's just kind of, say that top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 5. And the only reason that I say he's number 1 is because what he's given to work with.
Exactly.
So when you're
Exactly.
given, as opposed to some other people that are given anywhere upwards, at least 9 figures, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
9
At least
figures.
100 million. If he,
100 million to 150. You're in the ballpark. You're in the medium
150
range.
is average in the league. About
150
150 is average. Average.
So he's notoriously at around 75 to 80, right?
Right.
90, maybe
Bottom
a couple.
three.
Yeah,
Bottom 3 to 5 in the league.
bottom 3. So can you imagine him with double that payroll, which is not an unfathomable thing?
Which means you can go out and make trades for guys that you're going to add salary.
I'll give you an example because you brought up Nelly Cruz.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a reason why I think that year they did not move further in the playoffs. So this is a great example that could possibly play out again, right? And because of the market being not a smaller market per se, because we're the 11th, and all that stuff.
The 11th largest market, right?
Yeah. But I say smaller in the sense of coverage by newspaper and, the hard-hitting situation. And even nationally, they're not up our in every move that the Rays make. While the Yankees, call up a reliever just for 5 minutes just to fill the gap in, and they're scrutinizing that guy and what the move means and why did you do it. So that's the example. Nelly Cruz. I was calling for Nelly Cruz to be the choice. I would joke around subliminally on the, how much fun I had on my show.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was information and entertainment, and as it should be, right? And you and I agree on that, and that's why you and I connect so well. So I was playing the subliminal game. So every now and then I'll say, yeah, it'd be great if the Rays could maybe close to this time. It was like June going into July. And I go like subliminally, like Subliminal Man, and I go, it'd be great if they could sign Nelly Cruz. There would be a guy out there that I really like Nelly Cruz on air live.
Right.
Doing that,
I remember that.
And they signed Nelly Cruz surprisingly early.
Yeah.
It was like an early sign. Nevertheless, what did they give up that didn't get as much reported? Okay. They traded Rich Hill, who was a quality lefty. In fact, I think Rich is still throwing around the league this year. Yeah. I think at 40-something years.
Is he really?
Yes. Look up Rich Hill. He's still pitching.
Those crafty lefties, they never die.
Orozco, I think, pitched for every single team known to man.
He's still pitching.
Yeah, so Rich Hill, I was like, oh, you traded Rich Hill. And I go, and Rich Hill had like a $5 million contract. They were going to pay Nelly $5 million. The remainder for Nelly's contract was $5 million.
Right.
So follow me. They trade Rich Hill, which made no sense. I mean, just keep Rich Hill just in case. He wasn't killing it.
Right.
But there's a veteran, and we got
cheap.
At the time we had Shane Baz, who was so wet behind the ears that it was showing up in Boston. I'm getting ahead of myself. Shane McClanahan, who also was very, very young, hadn't had a full season, was also showing up in the playoffs against Boston that year. I'll get to that. So what happens? They trade Rich Hill. They off the ledger. This is why Neander he's like this, bro. They take off about $1.5 million to $2 million from the second half, right? And then what happened? Goodness, I'm forgetting the name now. Diego.
Joe Ryan. Was it Joe Ryan?
No, they traded to Seattle, the Dominican reliever.
Start with an A.
No, with a D.
I forget.
Well, but anyway, he was dealing. He was our everything reliever, right?
Right. Yes, I remember. Right.
And he was middle, setup, closer at times, and they traded him. Why? Because he was coming into his 4th year. That was his 3rd year, right? And so the next year, everybody knew that he was going to get at least $4 million. In fact, he signed. Didn't go to arbitration, and he signed for 4 or 4.5 in Seattle. They traded him to Seattle the same week that we pick up Nelly Cruz.
Yeah, it was a different trade. We traded Joe Ryan Joe Ryan was the piece in that, and of course
Joe Ryan, but he needed to be traded because it was you needed to trade somebody and the value, and Joe Ryan
was value, right? Exactly,
pretty good, right? But that wasn't the slide deal. Is the $5 million that's coming onto your ledger in order to not just say, well, we're adding $5 million that year to our
Right. You had
$85 million payroll. No, sir. They traded Rich Hill, and then they traded the reliever. The reliever got $4 million the next year. They knew that if they kept him, they were going to have to pay him $4 million, and the million plus. There's your $5 million that they basically took off the
The
ledger.
point is, Neander always had to equal it up. He always had the money had to go out.
But here's the crazy thing: you asked me about the playoffs.
Yeah,
they needed Rich Hill.
Yep.
To pitch, to be a veteran, because what ended up happening is they started two kids who now are young men, like studs in the big leagues. Well, you're waiting one to get back from a serious injury again in McClanahan, but a two-time All-Star, and if he comes back anywhere near what he was, monster. And Shane Baz. That's who you started against the Boston freaking Red Sox.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, right? And
no experience.
And you get wiped out. And then Nelly Cruz, the deal ended up not really working out the way that it would. Yeah, he hit well on the road, didn't hit well on the Trop. We find that out. But the bottom line is that you keep Rich Hill and you keep Diego, then you're covering yourself in the playoffs. All of a sudden, Rich Hill starts one of those games, and he's a crafty lefty. You get, you can use the reliever in so many ways. That's where I'm concerned for this year. Where are they gonna go get another bat? If one of those main arms goes down in the second half, that could be a little tricky.
McClanahan threw a bullpen yesterday.
Yeah.
If he comes back and you have you got Joe Boyle, you got a surplus of pitching.
Joe Boyle is legit. No, they're pitching rich right now. They're way more pitching rich right now than in that year when they were looking for that bat. And
my man Hunter Tubbs put up Diego Castillo.
Castillo. Gosh,
there you
dang
go.
It. That guy seemed like he threw every day. He came out of bed throwing. He went home throwing. That guy was your typical Dominican Republic rubber.
I know. So you like this team for the playoffs right now?
I like this team. I think.
Do we need another reliever? You okay with the bullpen?
I think there could be one more bullpen arm. I'm okay with Fairbanks. Obviously, he does his job. I think you've got a lot of young arms in there.
Yeah.
That's where you get in the bullpen. That's where you get in trouble. This bottom line is that you almost start feeling like, my goodness, if Neander and the Rays just had 15 to 20 to 25 million dollars. We're not even talking about doubling at the same time.
No.
If he had 25 to 30 million to spread out and to do this in midseason, pick up
go get a really solid setup guy.
Yeah, that's going to cost you. He's making 12 million, so it's going to cost you 6 million on the back end of the rest of the season, and you're like, swallow it, right? No problem. No quid pro quo going on. Now, that's what's possibly missing, I think, is that extra added thing. Because you're going to throw these kids to the wolves, bright lights, big cities in the playoffs. I'm not saying it can't be done. Arizona just did it, a few years ago and got to the World Series.
One more experienced setup guy in the bullpen with wipeout stuff. It's going to cost you.
And a DH bat, maybe.
Yeah,
that could
big bopper. I agree. We're on the same page. Oh,
yes.
Great stuff. All right, partner, we could do this all day, but I got to hit a break. Thank you, partner. Let's have you back in often.
You'll have me back in anytime you need. We can talk the rest of the league because there's a lot of good.
Yeah, I know. We got to do that.
Some great stories out there that I'm loving.
How about all right, we'll take a couple more minutes.
Skeens and Les Mis, as I call them.
How about that last night?
Yeah, and it left for a little. You wanted a little more from both of them, but still impressive. What we're.
How about Cal Raleigh, my Florida State guy?
Cal Raleigh is
the greatest first half in catching history.
Oh my God!
Unbelievable.
Talk about finish. Like, watch this.
Oh,
finish. Dude, it's aggressive. Love the Cal Raleigh story. A lot of really good stories out there in the big leagues. My boy, JC Escalara. With the Yankees, who's doing a nice job. He works out with a very dear friend of mine in Miami. he's a made for TV movie story.
So many
JP, you want a Rich Hill update real quick?
we got a Rich Hill update from my co-host here, Tim.
Rich
Am I
Hill is
wrong?
45 years old. He had his fourth stint with the Bo Sox last season, and in May he signed a minor league deal with the Kansas City Royals, and he's pitching at AAA Omaha right now at the age of 45.
Hello. I knew my boy Rich Hill was still pitching.
He's in AAA.
Maybe
Dude.
the Rays will bring him back for the playoff run.
45 years old,
40,
dude.
I love it.
Go to the beach.
That's
Go to
awesome.
the beach.
That's
His
awesome.
wife's probably, honey, can we stop this?
seriously?
We're living in Omaha, for God's sake.
You promised this was the last year.
That was 10 years
babe,
ago.
One more year. I think I can win a ring. Babe. Ask him, has he ever won a ring? Has he ever won
Here's
a
his
ring?
major league experience right here.
I love this. You are the
Cubs.
best. dude.
Oh my God.
Your guy is on point. Look at that.
Look at this dude is a
Okay,
suitcase.
just before you go, just out of curiosity, because he's coming up on the annals and the ranks of the greatest, longevity lefty that I have ever known is Jesse Orozco. Can you look up Jesse Orozco?
Sure.
How many
I'll look it
teams
up.
he played for?
Everybody's got that guy. So there was a kid in our little league. I grew up in Hollywood, Florida, South Florida.
Right.
Great baseball, as you know.
Oh my
His name
God.
was Joey. His name was Joey Klink.
Okay.
Joey Klink.
Oh, Joey
He
pitched for a long time.
Oh my God, he pitched for forever.
He
Has it-
started with Oakland, if I'm not mistaken.
You remember this guy?
Joey, of course. Joey
Yes,
Klink
yeah.
was like Joey. The guys that were legendary to me, lefties, was Joey Klink, Orozco before us, our time, because Jesse's old, way older than us, and then Jamie
There's
Moyer.
Orozco.
There's Orozco.
Jamie Moyer.
This is
Jamie Moyer.
Orozco.
There's Orozco.
I think Rich Hill. I think Rich Hill has him beat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there's Hill.
There's
There's
Rich
Orozco.
The crafty lefty. That should be a 30-30 right there. The great crafty lefties.
Lefty, dude, that
Oh,
hang
my
out.
God.
And then the granddaddy of them all. Which, by the way, I'll lean you into something. And I'm actually working with MLB possibly on this right now as we speak. Is a massive documentary on the legend and the craftiest of them all. 27 years, I believe he pitched in the big leagues. 24 or 27. Tommy John.
Tommy John.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tommy John.
Tommy John.
The great Tommy John. Yeah.
And we're doing it to honor him. He's struggling right now. He's 82 and he's got cancer.
26 years. 26.
26 years.
26
Should be
years.
in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He's got 287 wins or somewhere thereabouts, a 3-something ERA. And if anything, the legend behind the top. When next time you have me on, I'm going to talk to you because I've got a litany of really curious and interesting things about the story of Tommy John. And we're about to do something with MLB that should hopefully be really impactful.
Oh, that'd be so fun
for him. And then I'm working with a producer right now and a guy that's already wrote a script about it and already
Frank Tanana. Somebody threw the crafty lefties. Frank Tanana.
That's Tommy John.
Look at that, man. 288 wins, 3.3 ERA. The guy that they compare him to is Bert Blyleven.
Or Blyleven,
287, I think, but maybe a tick lower ERA. Had a shitload more strikeouts.
Yeah.
But come on, Tommy John. We got to get
Tommy
him to the Hall of
John.
Fame.
I remember him well. Absolutely, for the Dodgers, mostly. Yeah.
Crafty lefties, baby.
Joey Klink's dad used to come up to me because I was the only one that could hit Joey. And he would come up like every time I got a hit off him, his dad would run over to my dugout and go, "What'd you hit? What'd you hit? What'd you hit? The curveball. The curveball."
He was working it.
I'm like 12 years old, bro. He saw the ball. I hit the ball. I don't know what
saw a ball,
he's
hit
throwing.
ball, and I hit a bullet. I'm sorry. I see him well.
I see him. He got that. He had that big loopy curveball, and I'll just wait on that. Ba-bam.
Joey Klink was a solid major league pitcher for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and he also in my last Joey Klink story, this is when I was about 7. Because you play up against him.
Yeah,
all the way.
Right.
Yeah. So I was about 7 years old, and he was the hardest thrower. by far.
I bet.
And I was sitting on deck, and he plunked the kid in front of me, like right in the head. And I got on my bike and went home.
You had hit him too hard already.
I started crying. My coach is like, "What are you doing?"
I'm out of here.
I just went on my bike. Dog. And the next practice, what did my coach do? What did my next practice? You know what my coach did? He said, "Get in the box."
On home plate and plunked you.
He plunked me 10 times in a row. He said, "Did that hurt?" I said, "No." He said, "All right, you good?" I'm like, "I'm good."
You're good.
Can you imagine a coach doing that now?
Yeah. No, my God. It'd be on TikTok and he'd be in jail.
He would. Best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened. Thanks, coach. A grown-ass man put me in the box and hit me 10 times in a row with a baseball.
And the funny thing is that your parents or your dad probably would have sat there and gone like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hit him.
Oh, my God. We could do this all day. All right.
Dude, we'll talk
next week. Thanks, buddy.
Guys. Good show.
Appreciate it.
There he goes.
What a great game. Baseball is just such a great game. And you can talk about it forever and still learn about the game. You can never stop learning nuances of the game of baseball. I don't know what it is about the game, but it's just, it's just
unique.
It's unique. And there's so many nuances to the game. And that's why it's fascinating to talk about it. And just second guess managers, and not in a bad way. It's like, yeah, Kevin Cash is the best manager in the league, but when he makes stupid decisions as we see them, we talk about it. It's a part of the game. It's a great part of the game. So we love it. We love it. All right. We got to hit a break. Thank you to Orestes Destrade. Brought to you by the great folks of the Gold and Diamond Source. June, just a few days left in June to get your amethyst and your moon site. And pearl is the 30th anniversary gem. So if you have that 30th anniversary coming up, a nice pearl necklace for your lovely wife would be perfect. So, or earrings, or a nice necklace, earrings, bracelet would be good as well. Thegoldanddiamond.com is the website. Go there and get 15% off the June gemstones. And of course, if you're looking for that perfect ring, there is no better place to go than the Gold and Diamond Source. The best staff, the best selection. You can design your own ring there. They'll do anything you need in the jewelry realm. And of course, they'll get you the best ring at the best price. 0% financing over 5 years. That means you can get a $5,000 diamond for just $83 a month, less than a meal, right? Taking your honey out to a meal, get her a ring instead. She'll appreciate that. And get a real diamond. Don't get a fake. That's a bad idea. Golden Diamond Source. Check them out. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Celebrate summer with the largest jewelry collection at the Gold and Diamond Source. Yes, summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them the perfect thing for any summer occasion. Celebrate the milestone of a 30th anniversary with the timeless beauty of pearl, the traditional stone for this very special occasion. Right now, enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. You can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with zero interest over 5 years. Shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones that include pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. The perfect opportunity to add a touch of summer sparkle to your collection. As always, make the summer unforgettable and visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, the only place to get that unforgettable engagement ring. Great folks over there. Tell them JP sent you. 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on the this very interesting Thursday show. We got a lot to get to. By the way, we are awaiting the Wander Franco verdict. Expected to come down. And even as we await it and we get it, I don't know what the hell happens after that.
No.
Nobody does. Will he be suspended? But it's important for the Rays. They have a lot of money tied up in this kid, and if they have to pay him, which in some ways I just don't know. The Major League Players Association will certainly, and that's their job, frankly, to go to bat for these players. When it happens. So, it'll be interesting. So we don't want to spend too much time on it. We'll talk about it when we know what's up. I'm going to get to some of the comments here.
Yep.
I think we need to do it. By the way, we're brought to you by OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Jason Fawcett is the owner over there. We got to get him in studio again. We'll have him in to talk a little hockey with us. Big hockey fan, but more importantly, this is the time, before all the hurricanes hit, to have him out to your home, not just for hurricane stuff, but he'll look at your home and say, hey, if you're interested in adding on, we could do this. You want to do some restoration inside your home, we could do this. We could turn this space into this. And you can look at on their website. They got a lot of great pictures of the work they've done. Over 1,400 jobs, over 20 years. Great folks to work with, 5-star reviews. You want an honest contractor that's going to do it on budget, on time. These are the folks, OnSiteConstructionFL.com. And they're giving a free consultation. So develop a relationship with your contractor before all this starts. So if you have to do something after a hurricane, then you can, you got the guy, you're on the list, you get that preferred treatment, and you're ready to go. So it's a really important thing. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Just have him out there. It doesn't cost anything. Just develop that relationship with him. right away.
By the way, JP, speaking of hockey, before we get to the comments, I was playing around with some AI the other day, and I don't mean Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
AI did this for me.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
I didn't even tell it a team or anything. I just said something about hockey, and this is what it did, and it made me a captain.
Yeah, you got the C on your chest too. AI is.
Isn't that the craziest thing?
I just think that if guys are using AIs to create pictures right now, that's not what they're doing.
No.
Just a guess.
I might have some of those too, but I can't put them on the screen.
Bucs Basement says, agree on Light extension. He's earned it. Do not agree on the Bowles extension, considering you would have been fired the last 2 seasons if the season collapsed in Carolina. Field goals with Canales and the Carolina game. We should have lost this past season. They just gave Bowles cushion to fail this season if he does or doesn't reach the goal. And now we got to deal with him for likely 1 more year. Okay. They likely gave Bowles this extension because they did not want him looking like a lame duck. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So there's nothing wrong with that, Bucs Basement. There's a reason you do that. And we outlined that with what happened with the Cowboys last year. It's a disaster.
It's a complete disaster.
Why would you want to circumvent the great success that you have coming this year? You know, and I know you know that, and that's why it was that. And that's what we said. We add context to it. There's no question about it. If you think, this locks Todd Bowles up for 3-4 more years, I don't necessarily think that's the case. And he knows.
I don't think that's the point of this. Yeah,
it was interesting to know. We're talking about what the deal is and how much it is, and the numbers haven't been released, and I'm not sure they will be. But it was, I think, the last numbers we got on Bowles' contract, he was making $3 million a year. Didn't Saban in his last year make like $12 million? Isn't Kirby Smart making like $13 or $14 million?
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's a disparity. There are assistant coaches in college that are making $3 million a year. Interesting. Michael LaRue said, if Todd could fix the defense and the clock management issues, then I'm good with him extension. And that's what they're doing. You know, the defense is changing. The scheme is changing. There's no question about that. And I'm not convinced that he's even going to be calling the plays this year. We'll see. And I think that would allow him to be better in game management. And of course, they hired the full-time game manager who's working not only with Bowles, but with the players and understanding clock time situations. Because, the players have to be part of this as well. And preparing your players for this is a big part of what good organizations do. What else we got? Michael Lewis says, I agree with Buccaneers. Keep in mind the Bucs Basement. Yeah. Keep in mind the Glazers fired Gruden 1 season after giving him an extension. Exactly. So
yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
It means something, but it doesn't. Yeah. Right. It'll all depend on what he does. Good morning to you, John Hill. Cody says, good day, mates. Listening to y'all from Blue Ridge this morning with the fam. Oh, nice. I got to get up to North Carolina. There's so many friends with houses up there. Like, come on up. I'll be doing a few shows from North Carolina soon.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll do the shows in the morning and play golf in the afternoon. There's beautiful golf courses over there. Michael LaRue says, wander verdict due today, but he also was arrested in the parking lot altercation involving an unregistered firearm. That could be a 3 to 5 year sentence. Again, yeah. All of that is commonplace in the DR, and I don't think he's going to do any jail time. We'll see. Good morning, gentlemen. B's in this morning, said, for most teams, it doesn't matter who the head coach is, if only for continuity. Sean Payton is not worth $18 million per year. Is that what he's getting paid? Sean Payton, $18 million a year?
Oh, that sounds high.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds real high. But I think I remember.
Yes, 5 years, $18 million per is what.
Yeah, I remember. He's working for the Walmart people.
Yeah,
they got a lot of money to burn.
And they dumped they dumped Russell Wilson's contract to help pay for that.
Brett B says, Bob Buckhorn running for mayor. He announced, does that change the Rays stadium formula at all? I mentioned this with Ken Hagan the other day, and I did not think that, and I love Bob, and I know Bob, he's a good dude, but I thought he could have been more involved in the first iteration of the Rays coming to Ybor City. This is my opinion. And Ken corrected me and said, no, the city was on board with everything. Maybe publicly he wasn't as excited. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember the city throwing in money. And then I talked to city councilman after that and said, yeah, we could have done some stuff in terms of supporting it financially. And I'm like, well, why didn't we? And he's like, well, politics. And look, and nobody wants to just give away money to billionaires building stadiums, and nor should they. There has to be a return on investment. So if Bob is announcing, we're going to get him on the show, and we'll find out what his commitment is to the Rays. And it's going to be the same as Ken. We want him here, I'm sure. As my prediction. And I hope that he's more vocal about it. I hope he brings a little bit more juice to the game than he did the first time around. That's just my opinion. And it's obviously going to be a big talking point in this election. I'm not sure when is the election, next year? Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm asking you. You're sitting in Dallas. I'll figure it out. So yeah, I mean, we'll get him on the show and see what he has to say about it. And I think the city could definitely be a game changer in this. But as Ken said, they were simpatico the first time, and hopefully they'll be this time as well, because I think it's a big part of it. Because it's not just going to be money for the stadium. Okay, it's going to be infrastructure. It's going to be, how does the city work with, if it's going to be Darryl Shaw developing this in Ybor City, the city permitting, all that stuff, timelines. It's going to be a huge part of it. You need everybody on the same page, pulling the same way, including the ownership group, which of course is something we've never had. We've always had the ownership working in the background, almost against it, just trying to, see what kind of money they can get out of this or what's in it for them. Instead of working together, it was always this kind of, the city and county reaching out, and the Rays kind of like, how much money are you going to give me? How much money are you going to give me? And that doesn't work. You don't get anything done that way. Clearly that hasn't worked. Let me see what else we got here. Rick says, nice try, Tim. You'll get my number, then my spam calls will triple. What are you selling him?
No, that's when I was giving out the text line.
Daniel Rivera says, I was at the Hard Rock last night and it was packed. Just imagine that, 81 times a year at the fairground site following a Rays game. I also passed the dog track site and I see why Hagen likes it. Yeah, no, the dog track site is interesting. I just think it's too far from downtown. It's not walkable. It's not scooterable.
It's pretty far north, right? That's the one that's north that we talked about.
Yeah, it's like a mile and a half, 2 miles north of downtown. But there's ways to connect it. So I'm open-minded. Build it. If I'm partial to Ybor Harbor. I would love to see Ybor Harbor. I think that's the best spot. Bucs Basement said, I honestly find that bragging of the Kings of Mountain titles hysterical. Bucs fans during these Breeze years mocked the Saints for those titles, and now we covet them, talking about winning the crappy division titles. I mean, it means something. You beat them.
Yeah.
Sergio Beltran says the Bucs will give Bowles at least one season to improve. If the season he advances in the playoffs more than last year, he is safe. Anything less, his job is in jeopardy, in my opinion. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
I agree. Like I said in the beginning, and we can all sing Kumbaya and everybody's together and it's all fantastic, but it's about winning. And, if you don't think, again, Jason Light and the Glazers are very disappointed at how last season ended, you're wrong. And you go back and look at those games, and Todd Bowles' game management hands are all over that. Now, you can't fumble the football late in the game. You got to be better, execute better. But that game management didn't get it done. And you lost to an inferior team. I'm not saying the Commanders they won 12 games last year and they advanced in the playoffs. They were a good football team. I think the Bucs were better. Playing at home in that situation, you got to get that win against a rookie quarterback. We got to win that game. You let a rookie quarterback, as good as Jaden Daniels is, you're Todd freaking Bowles. You stop Patrick Mahomes. Kept him out of the end zone in the Super Bowl. You can't beat Jaden Daniels in that situation. You got out-coached. You did. You got outmaneuvered. And there was some execution issues. Absolutely. I think maybe tonight or maybe definitely this weekend. I'm going to go back and watch that Washington game again.
The wild card game?
Mm-hmm. I need to refresh my memory.
It's going to be painful.
It's instructional.
Maybe they'll win this time.
Robert Williams says the Marlins sold a group other than the group who had the letter of intent. You are correct on that, I believe. David Sampson said so, and it is true for Sampson. He would know. MLB understands they might have to compromise failed location. Not true. The team makes money. It's been there 27 years, and real estate play is tremendous. B, so you're going to argue that the Trop site is not a failed location?
I mean,
that's laughable, bro. It's laughable. You want to argue that the real estate play helps a failed location? Yeah, I'll agree with that. You get more money up front. It still doesn't make it the most accessible place for majority of Rays fans. It is not where you're going to make the most money in premium seating long-term and even short-term, which is how revenues are driven these days. Smaller ballparks, more premium seating, way more available in Tampa. Not debatable. Population center, all that. You got it wrong. It's a failed location. You've been there 27 years and your attendance sucks. And you need the premium seating to drive revenue. That is the definition of a failed location. Now, yeah, you want to argue there's more money there up front? Yes. You want to argue that the Bucs would rather have them in St. Pete? Yes. These are all factors. But I'll argue 2.4 million people as opposed to 700,000 within a 30-minute drive. Access to the Orlando market, points east where people are actually living and building that you can't do in St. Pete. It's not even debatable. I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath on it. To be honest with you, you don't have to do that. As Thomas Casper says, it's a failed location since 98, and MLB does not want to keep paying them. You're the 11th largest market. The reason you don't have the revenue is because of the mismanagement of the team and the location. Everybody knows that. It's not up for debate. But he says Pinellas St. Pete still has much more money to give and ready for made. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, everybody knows that. But in the long term, it's failed model. And if Stu couldn't even get it done and couldn't make the numbers work, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh, Pete's, man. Give it up. Oh, God. It's
exhausting, isn't it?
I don't know if I should put that up. When does the Glazer-funded hit piece come out on Patrick Z? Who said it was the Glazers? I didn't say that.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that. And I'd be more likely to say it's Stu-funded. Again, who confirmed the names of Zalewski as the anchor? The Rays. Who leaked the story? In my mind, in my opinion, I think it was the Rays. Brandon O says, along with making a NFC championship game, this team should aim to win the division before the last game of the year. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. This roster is 11, 12 game winning roster. You still got to go out there and do it. You got to play and you got to manage games and you got to make the right calls. And you got to OC making the first calls. You got to not turn the ball over. All those things. That's part of the game. Excuse me. All right. Brandon G says, Trip Miller told the Orlando Sentinel that his group and the Orlando group have both received calls from Zalewski and company trying to get more money for their bid. I don't think they can close right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the same thing. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's true. And Trip Miller, I don't know him personally, but in all the conversations I've had with all the groups, he's well known to everybody. He's well known to everybody and maybe not well received. there's a reason he's out there making a lot of noise. And he's on the outside looking in. And again, I don't know him, and I'm not saying anything bad about the guy. I don't know him. I'm telling you, a lot of the people that I've talked to that are within these groups have no Miller, have dealt with him, and he's not part of their groups. So again, figure it out. And listen, I'm not here saying that the Zalewski they have all the money ready to go. I don't know that. My sense is Major League Baseball would not have them as the preferred group if they didn't have the money. Mm-hmm. And again, Zalewski, I don't know for a fact that he's the anchor of this the lead anchor of this group. And I told you when his name surfaced, that was unexpected. I had heard his name as part of the group, and I knew he was part of it, but I did not think that he was going to be the anchor. That was surprising. And that was confirmed only by the Rays. So he may not be. We don't know. He may be. I don't know. But he may not be. And maybe someone's trying to paint this group in a poor light. Instead of concentrating on notice that the Tampa Bay investors have not been named. Why not? Because those names would be much more palatable publicly to get this deal done. And we wouldn't even be talking about Zalewski. So we'll see. And by the way, we know, and I predicted that there was going to be a hit piece on Zalewski that connects him with DeSantis in the Times. That's just a prediction connecting the dots because I know they're sniffing around. We showed you the post from the reporter in the Dreamfinders Homes Horror Stories Facebook group. We saw that. We uncovered that. And so we were the source of uncovering that, by the way. Actually, my wife was. Said, hey, look at this. I'm like, oh, interesting. Yes. So yes. And now whether they follow through on it, what they find, I know they're going to find out a lot of dirty stories. I know that for a fact because they're all in there. And again, home buyers, home building is a dirty business, not excusing any of it at all. That's newsworthy. It was newsworthy 2 years ago and last year. And there's a lot of other dirt on local owners that they haven't really reported on.
Yep.
Which is interesting. I mean, the lack of coverage on that lawsuit, the biggest player in St. Pete in terms of public player, in terms of and tons of money and juicy stuff in there. I think they did 3 articles, maybe. Not many. Not certainly of the coverage of some other stuff to the level. Brandon G says, to your point, not uncommon to see people flipping between groups or the group and the LOI not closing the deal. Absolutely. We told you this. We've been telling you along the process that Major League Baseball likes to move people around, and they move from group to group. And sometimes they have signed non-circumvent NDAs, and they do it anyway.
Yep.
And sometimes there's litigation, sometimes there's not. And there's reason for all that. So none of that is unusual. Bucs Race Bolt said Bowles thought through the 2028 season, JP. Yeah, it's likely a 3-year deal, I would think. Yeah, that makes sense. B says TV ratings wise, MLB is fine with St. Pete. What is that? What does that even mean? TV ratings wise, MLB is fine with St. Pete. It's still.
Is he trying to say they're just happy because in St. Pete because of the ratings are good? Like that doesn't matter. That would be
as long as
fine
the TV ratings good, they can be wherever they want because it's a TV sport. Okay, but why not? If you're gonna take the opportunity to build a new stadium, why not put it in the correct place, demographically speaking? And that's not debatable. It's not debatable. You can talk about the money up front and to get it done. And again, if you're privately funding the stadium, which all these groups that I've talked to are more than willing to do, people act like Hillsborough County has to write a check for the whole thing right away. It's not how it works, folks. Depending on the group and how much they're going to privately fund the stadium and the development around it, and the infrastructure and how the deal is done, there's a lot of different things that can be done. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Hillsborough County has to pay for half the stadium. In fact, I'm going to guess that they're not going to, and they don't need to. And that will leave them plenty of money to give the Bucs whatever they need. That's reasonable. Now, if the Bucs come out and say, hey, we want a brand new stadium covered. It's going to cost you $3 billion and we're not paying a dime. Well, which they're not going to do, obviously. But, there's hopefully a happy middle there where we can get this done. I mean, people act like, again, this is the 11th largest market in America. If I'm not mistaken, other smaller markets have football stadiums and baseball stadiums and hockey arenas and baseball arenas and soccer stadiums, all that within the same market. But yet everybody thinks that we're such rubes here that we can't get this done. We're the 11th largest market in one of the greatest real estate markets in history. Still, it's not as red hot as it was, but it's still pretty damn good. For where other economies are, Florida's where it's happening. This is where people want to build. This is where these things really work. Why shouldn't we be part of that? Because we've been beaten down by a bad owner for years? No, I don't accept that. We're better than that. James Rolliston says, I don't think Trip Miller is telling the truth. He is playing to the Orlando market. I think that might be his play. There's public money to be had there. But again, MLB does not want the Rays in Orlando and not in that spot. I can tell you that. MLB wants the Rays in Tampa. And that's a lot of what's driving this.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to hit another break. We'll do another break, and when we'll come back on the other side, finish up your comments and your questions. Love you, folks. Appreciate you participating. We are brought to you by Third Generation Plumbing, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Any issues you have with your plumbing or your AC in this hot summertime, they've got a great deal going on right now to come tune up your air conditioner. Just go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Have them come on out and visit. You'll see their great service, their great technicians. You always just want an honest technician, right? And this company's been in Tampa Bay since 1995, 3 generations, actually further back than the Rodriguez family goes to Ybor City. Great folks over there. John Rodriguez is the owner. So it's a local company. Great folks. If you have any issues, they will take care of them and make it right. thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Back in 3. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Make sure you get your flood insurance, your business insurance. Let them shop your home insurance, your auto insurance. If you have any insurance questions, ItalianoInsurance.com is the place to go. 813-877-7799. Another great local business. Been doing it for 60 years here locally. Jeff Italiano, Nat Italiano, the whole family over there. Big FSU folks. The FSU report coming back for the fall. Looking forward to that. Cannot wait. Might actually win more than 2 games this year. That would be fun. Shocking development. Hey, we have a interesting development here. Nadia Jordan says I have an email thread with the Tampa Bay Times hit piece author Rebecca Liebson. How can I send it to you? JP at the jppetersonshow.com. And again, you know, what I think she's doing is valuable work. This is what they should be doing, investigating these type of issues. I'm sad that it took them a long time to get to this point. Yeah. And it's interesting why. Yeah. I mean, when Zalewski's name surfaces, and also Bill Cosgrove and anybody that's going to own this team, the first thing that the Times should be doing is looking into their background and their business background. It's like, but you've completely ignored what Stu has done for 20 years, which is crazy. It's bananas. But yes, what they're doing is part of it. And if you're going to be a public figure, and you have a company, you're going to get investigated. That's the way it works. If there's dirt there, and there is, you know, she'll find plenty of folks on that thread. It is what it is.
Yep.
So what else did we go? Yeah, we all know about the Wander thing. I like this. Justin Pegg said, JP, would it be great? It would be great if you could spearhead the Dale Mabry doubleheader for 9/21. Hopefully the local politicians or TSA are going to hype this up. One season ending at home and another one starting. Yes, this is going to be historic. Who do we got? We got the Red Sox that night at the Stein at 7:00, and then we got the day game against the Eagles. No, it's not the Eagles. What is that? 9. Check that schedule for me if you would, Tim.
Which date?
9/21. Our second, I think it's our second home game. Or first, it's our home opener, actually.
So the third game of the year, yeah.
I should have this already memorized.
That will be the Jets.
The Jets. So we take care of New York, which is taking care of itself right now. Have you seen
Hey, don't
videos
look out
in
for
Times
Justin
Square?
Fields. I'm just kidding.
What's that? Have you seen the videos from Times Square, the Muslim gatherings in Times
No.
Square and
No.
Park Slope in Brooklyn?
No, why?
It looks like Tehran. They have
God.
the new Muslim mayor, 33-year-old Democrat socialist who's going to get rid of the NYPD.
Going to go over well. Oh, you mean the very people that are protecting him from the death threats? He's going to do away with them.
Yes.
All right, let's see how that works out for him.
Yeah. Listen, again, we're not being racist by mentioning these things. It's just like, this is America. And if you're going to come to America and you want to assimilate, that's fantastic. Be part of our culture. If you want to bring Sharia law here, we're not interested. That's not our culture. And that's what they want to do.
Culture, and you can do your culture. Just don't force your culture on everyone else.
Well, that's what they want. That's what they're
know.
voting for. Good luck. So, by the way, so if you want us to come to New York and play in a World Series without the NYPD there, yeah, I'm not interested.
Not happening.
And that's, now Ken Rosenthal broke that story yesterday that their Rays are in discussions for their postseason plans. And it looks like the early season wild card rounds, until they get to the ALCS or the World Series, it doesn't really matter. So, which I think they can get to the ALCS and the World Series the way they're playing now. They're going to get better. I just, and I understand the logistics in terms of broadcasting. Totally understand that. But you know what? Can we not come up with some different angles? I know there's issues. Ken Rosenthal in the story said, the low home plate camera, the screen gets involved and the cables. It's not a good look. I don't like it either. But there's ways around that. We have the technology, to get a higher camera.
Right.
We, press box seating. We're going to move because we can't get enough press box people in. They can watch it from a location underneath in an auxiliary box. We do that all the time in the World Series and Super Bowls and all that stuff. And then there's like tickets sold goes to the players, and there's a portion of it. And the more attendance you have, the more money they get. That's an important fact. I said, let's get creative. Let's sell tickets at Raymond James Stadium for a watch party. That could be part of it. Yeah. Now you're not going to charge $200 a ticket, but if you charge $25 a head and drive a lot of revenue, parking, tailgate parties, let's just get a little bit creative here. We can come up with ways to get ticket revenue to the players. That shouldn't be a problem. So a lot of this is infrastructure for broadcasting. Now, World Series, typically the corporate sponsors get 7,500 tickets that are MLB pulls away for their sponsors, for umpires, for players, for all that stuff. Now, if you only have 11,000 tickets, or even if you add some bleachers, which they can do, and bring it up to 15, 20, that's an issue. But again,
right.
If 1 year goes by and the umpires don't get all their tickets to the World Series, is the world going to end? With the players, with the umpires never? If 1 year we have a little issue with some of this, if the corporate sponsors don't get all the tickets 1 year, are we going to be okay? As opposed to completely uprooting a fan base that's had to deal with a lot of BS, and you want this market for long term? Major League Baseball, I got to think things through a little bit more if I'm you.
It's a tremendous opportunity for them right now.
Yeah, you love this market. You want to keep it here. I love all that, and it's great. But let's also say we need to reward these season ticket holders. First of all, they got soaked by the owner in the initial pricing of the tickets. That should be part of it. I just do not agree. I read that whole article. There's a lot of things in there, and it's a lot about the broadcast. Who gives a shiz? We can figure out the camera angles, and if there's not enough catering rooms for Fox, sorry, we'll figure it out. Now, corporate sponsors, I kind of get all that.
Sure.
It's just going to be a little bit more limited this year. We understand. And what are we talking about? 5 games? 6 games? I mean, let's just be a little bit more creative and not originally just go right to we've got to serve corporate baseball. We've got to serve. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you move it to Atlanta or New York, for God's sakes, I think that's a horrible idea. If you move it to Miami, will Rays fans go down there for the ALCS? And that's well planned out ahead of time. And the World Series, yes, I think Rays fans will make the trek. We should. I will, certainly. I mean, we should be able to fill that ballpark. But again, for an extra few thousand seats, and it would be fun, I guess. But if we do that, by the way, can we have the games back to back? Like
right.
Tuesday, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday night. Let's not do a Wednesday and a Friday. Let's do them back to back so people making the trip, don't have to be there for 8 days. That would be nice. All right. What else we got? Nathan Sally says there's a text line. How have I not heard about this before? Well, this is the text line. What do we need a text line for when we got a comment line?
So the reason we have a text line, JP, is because not everybody watches the live broadcasts. Some people listen to the recorded podcasts. The studio text line is open 24/7, and it gives somebody that's driving down the road in the middle of the night listening to the JP show a place where they can go and comment, and we will see their comment. It'll be the next day, but we'll see it.
Okay.
So it gives everybody an opportunity. If you're not watching live, yes, you can always comment on the YouTube, but if you're listening to the podcast and you're not on the video, you can still go to the text line and comment, and we will see it in the studio, and we can reply to you. We can make it part of the next show. We can talk about whatever your point was. You just need to make sure you tell us who you are and where you're texting from, and then make your point. That way we know who to credit. So it's a thing we use here in Dallas quite a bit with the recorded podcast. We haven't really utilized it in Tampa yet because you guys watch live all the time. So, but we thought we'd open it up a little bit for everybody. So it's just another opportunity for you.
All right. We said we talk about the Magic draft. They drafted Jace Richardson.
Son of Jason Richardson. Yeah.
No, Jace Richardson.
Right. The son of Jason Richardson.
Right. 25th pick, 19-year-old, Michigan State. Jace was not in Brooklyn for his selection, but he was at home watching with his family and friends at the moment the call came. It was a surreal feeling. Super special. I got to dig in a little bit more on what exactly is going on in Orlando. They traded a lot of players this offseason. They got Bain back. I mean, obviously they got Banchero and Franz. I mean, it's an interesting group. It's a really interesting group. How they all come together is going to be interesting. And by the way, well worth the show. I've said this many times. I went to 4 Magic games this year. Great show. Really good stuff. They put on, it's easy in and out. At least it was for us. We have an NBA team. It's called the Orlando Magic, folks. Get in your car, go down I-4, make it a day, and have fun. It's a really cool place. I like the new arena. I say new. It's what is it, 12 years old? But it's great.
They're
really
not
nice.
in the arena anymore.
Nope. I saw the 92 All-Star game in that original arena. That was the one Magic Johnson made the deep 3 after the I think it was his last year, and he played in the All-Star game. That was pretty cool. Never forget that game. Ran into play-by-play.
He wasn't supposed to live much past that game, but
no, he wasn't. Remember, right? As I remember that well, it was a big deal.
And here we are.
Remember, like he wasn't even playing, and then he came and played into it, right?
Yeah, and it was a big deal because a lot of the players were like, "He's got AIDS,
right?
Or he's HIV positive." We don't know about this, but it was much earlier in the deal back then, and the skepticism was certainly warranted. I think because nobody really knew what anything about it still, but he's still alive somehow.
Ashley's in this morning. My lovely wife said, "I love to write a hit piece on Patrick's."
Wow. I'm gonna have to throw that back there.
Well,
Gentlemen, we got a big fucking problem.
a good way to end the show right there. You missed it on Monday. As Ashley made an appearance on the show.
Oh wow!
Did you see that?
Was she showing off the squirrel again? You guys still have the squirrel?
No. We finally became public with our throuple.
Oh,
involving Stu Sternberg. Not that, people. No, she told the story of our first date where I showed up and it was on a day that I just got off it was a lunch date, and I just got off doing the show, and it was a big Stu Sternberg day. Something had broke, and I forget exactly what it was, but we had broke a story or something happened with Stu, and I showed up at the first date and I tried to explain to her, what was going on, and she's like,
I bet that went over well.
What an idiot I am. Yeah. If you missed that on Monday, it's the end of the show. If you want to go back and watch it.
Oh no.
See the beautiful
That's like me. That's like me going on a first date and trying to explain my ex-wife's situation.
Right.
Right out of the gate.
If somehow I thought that would be interesting to her. Like, what an idiot. And she's lived with Stu ever since.
She's still here.
Like, could you just I can't talk about him at home anymore. I'm not allowed. Oh, I'm smart enough to know not to talk about him anymore.
You don't really want to.
How'd your day go, honey? I'm like, I can't really tell you. It was all about Stu. She's like, okay, good.
Yeah, if you ever want to shut down a conversation about work, just say we talked about Stu.
That's it. We're done. We're done. So I'm like, she's like, what are you gonna do when he's gone? I'm like, I don't know.
Have a party?
We'll figure something out. Yeah. No, we'll have plenty to talk about. Listen, if you people think this is what I want to do, you're wrong. I want to talk about everything else, but this is what y'all want to talk about. It's the biggest story maybe in the history of Tampa Bay sports, to be quite honest. Maybe second to Tom Brady. I don't know, but this has gone up for the length of the story, all the people that are involved, and it's culminating in this insane transfer of power that involves all these billionaires fighting each other, trying to get the team and build a stadium in one of these two. It's like, it's unbelievable. It's one of the craziest stories of all time, and we're here for it. And we're right in the middle of it. We're right in the middle of it. We're talking to all these people.
Jeff's got the right idea here. We're going to have a boat parade when Stu leaves.
Hell to the freaking yes. And I will organize that as well.
Goddamn. Way to go, Jeff.
All right. That'll do it for us today, kids. Thank you so much for jumping in. Big numbers once again today. We see them, and thank you for all the comments, everything. You guys are fantastic. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow as well. We got more coming your way. Nadia's emailing me her interesting stuff from the St. Pete Times Reporter, Tampa Bay Times Reporter. So that should be fun to report on. And we'll have more for you. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays. We'll see you tomorrow.